Hello, it is November 3 and this podcast contains information obtained until today. Last week on October 31, China issued an urgent notice on airline boarding requirements. So I actually wanted to do a bit more legal topic this time, but I'll do this in a later podcast because I think this development is really important and you should know about it. As usual, I'm addressing specifically the travel from Germany to China. Please, of course, check very carefully if you're traveling from another country because the regulations may deviate. I will touch on two very important aspects later in the podcast. On the one hand, the suspension of the Centogene fast-track procedure in Frankfurt and Hamburg, and also special new rules when traveling to China via a transit third country from Germany, which makes such transit very cumbersome. In case you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel. Let's first have a look at the detailed content of the announcement. So first, very important change is the time of the COVID test. From November 6, 2020, it must be done not earlier than 48 hours before boarding your flight. So you need to find a doctor and a lab to get you the test very, very quickly. And be careful, if you are traveling, for instance, on a Monday, when your local test centers might be closed during the weekend, this might be difficult. Secondly, the test now consists of two parts. We can call it a double test. The usual nucleic acid PCR-test and the immunoglobulin M, the IgM antibody blood test. So your body makes IgM antibodies when you're first infected with a new virus. And the IgM antibodies are then your first line of defense against infections. So the level of which rises only for a very short time. During that time, these IgM are detectable. And you will need the test results from both the PCR and the IgM antibody tests negative. Now, very important to know is for all the tests, you will need an additional certification by the Chinese embassy or competent consulate general in Germany before your flight. Besides these two main changes, I want to talk about two other key points. Important to know is that the fast-track process via the Centogene testing labs at Hamburg or Frankfurt Airport has been suspended from November 6, 2020. In other words, even if you were able to do your tests at Centogene Airport labs, as non-Chinese citizens, you still will need to apply for a certified health declaration from your competent Chinese embassy or consulate in Germany. The other very important point to know is regarding flights from Germany to China via transit countries. This is in principle not encouraged anymore because it's just more difficult to control and also the risks are higher because you're traveling more and you're meeting more people, so the infection risk can also be higher. If you plan to travel in such a way, you need not only the double test in Germany when you depart, but you have to do a second double test in the transit country. Plus, you need a second email confirmation, a second email certification actually of that result by the Chinese embassy or consulate in the transit country. So in other words, this kind of flight may lead to a cheaper airline ticket, but it's much more complicated and costly regarding the COVID tests. Sorry that I can't give you better news on this one. But on the other hand, given the current second and third waves in many countries, it's understandable that China wants to be very careful regarding the import or the avoidance of import cases from abroad. That is all for today. Hope you had fun with this report and 再见 from Shanghai. If you like this video, please press the subscribe and like button below. In the description below, you can also find a link to my LinkedIn channel.